Donald Trump found guilty by a New York jury in his hush money trial. Jurors reached their verdict after just 9 hours of deliberating. 12 jurors found Trump guilty on all 34 counts of falsifying business records in connection to adult film star Stormy Daniels. Trump is the first former president to ever be convicted of a crime. And speaking after the unanimous decision, Trump said the real verdict will come on November 5th.
This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here. You have a Soros-backed DA, and the whole thing. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution. Our whole country is being rigged right now. This was done by the Biden administration in order to wound or hurt an opponent, a political opponent. And I think it's just a disgrace. And we'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end and we'll win.
Several GOP lawmakers quickly shared their dismay for the ruling, including House Speaker Mike Johnson, Representatives Jim Jordan and Elise Stefanik, and Senator J.D. Vance, all standing beside the 45th president at this time. Meanwhile, the Biden administration said no one is above the law, and Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg saying, quote, "The jurors have spoken." I want to bring on now independent journalist Jackson Gosnell. Jackson, welcome on. You know, this verdict, a lot of people are saying that this is a misjustice, from the jury selection to the judge's big-time Democrat donations, the fact that Alvin Bragg ran on a Get Trump campaign. A lot of people are feeling a rot in their stomach right now. Something isn't right here, that a man that happens to be leading in all the major swing states, with the exception of one, a political opponent, is getting hit with this frankly obscure charge that wouldn't be applied to anybody unless your name is Donald J. Trump.
Yeah, Dana, it's good to be with you. This verdict sent shockwaves throughout the country, with people taking all sorts of great upset with the verdict, especially Republicans, as you mentioned, who reacted very strongly, announcing their support for the former president. As you noted, he was found guilty on all those counts, and sentencing is happening in mid-July. What will that sentence look like is now the big question everyone's asking, along with what will the appeal process be like, because we know that the Trump team is planning to appeal. I can tell you there is a press conference scheduled for 11 a.m. tomorrow morning at Trump Tower, where President Trump will address the media and deliver some information, hopefully, about what happens next. But if anybody was really wondering what this did, a lot of Republicans say it just boosted his polling numbers because it proves that this is a political prosecution. We'll see if that happens, but certainly he seems to be in the lead right now before all of this. So we'll see if it really impacts the voters and what they have to say about it. But speaking of voters, I polled some of my social media followers and talked to them earlier this evening to get their reaction to the verdict. I want to let you listen to what they had to say.
I'm not surprised. I don't think anybody was going to be surprised that a jury in the great state of New York would find Trump guilty on all 34 charges.
I'm honestly not shocked with the verdict of the trial, and as I read more and more about it, I don't understand how anybody could think this was a simple, fair, and just trial, and I'm curious to see how the appeal of the verdict is handled.
Because what happened today has been political prosecution and has been purely a Democratic Biden DOJ-led agenda.
Yeah, and I just want to mention that those are voters from all different backgrounds. They're from all over the country. Many of them have different beliefs. I spoke with some of them on camera and some off, but reaction was pretty consensus that people were not very shocked by this. And I don't think a lot of people believe the outcome will be anything too significant other than maybe drive the polls more in Trump's favor.
That's for sure. It's, you know, quite frankly, it's a good thing to see some young people speaking out about this. Yeah. Young people, you know, as you know, Jackson, they typically tend to lean on the left. So to see those young guys right there, the people that follow you, speaking about this very serious case among all political backgrounds is something new I haven't seen before. But, you know, it's good to see we got the Gen Z support out there actually making their voices heard. They see this as a two-tiered political justice system. And you know, it's about time that the young people actually speak up about this, too. Among all demographics, everybody should be weighing in. So, you know, the Trump camp is going to obviously appeal this case. But what else do we think that could happen here now? Because Trump is set to debate Biden very soon. I mean,
Yeah.
how do you think that's going to play out?
Well, first, I just want to mention to your point about young voters. I think that voters who are Gen Z and in that younger voter category are really tuned into this. They are paying attention. They can't afford food. They can't afford housing. They can't afford basic living expenses. These are people who are in college, people who are just starting their lives, and they're realizing that all that they've worked for to get these jobs, they're really just not getting any further because the cost of living is so high and inflation is so terrible. But to your point about the upcoming debate, we will see what happens. The sentencing is scheduled for July. The debate is happening. The first one is happening in June. So I don't know that it'll impact that too much, but I do know that there's a range of possibilities for punishment. There could be no punishment. Now, is that likely? We'll see. He's a former president. He's a party nominee almost. He will be there in July, but he is a front runner of a major political party and a former president. And so, as a result of that, I don't know what punishment looks like. Maybe it's just the fact that Biden gets to say, you're a convicted felon, but we'll see what that ends up being. I doubt he actually goes and sees the first day in jail, but it doesn't stop left, progressive commentators saying he's going to go to jail. He's going to have his day in jail. I don't know that that's going to actually happen. We'll see if it does. I think that a lot of Americans and a lot of voters, Trump supporters in particular, will be in absolute shambles if that comes to fruition, Dana.
Well, yeah, whatever happens, like Trump said, the real verdict will come November 5th. So we'll look out for that.
Yeah.
Last question for you, Jackson. New York City's Mayor Eric Adams, he issued a statement earlier about Trump's verdict saying that the NYPD is ready to respond to any of these maybe large-scale protests that could come down anytime, adding that New York will not be a city of lawlessness. Where are these types of warnings, though, for the other side who burnt down, Summer of Love 2020? How could we forget? Burnt down the businesses, upended cities when they get a verdict that they just don't like, or, as in the case of, like I said, George Floyd, before the court even made a decision.
So it's funny that you asked me that question because as you were telling me what the mayor did, I was just thinking, well, it's interesting because that doesn't always apply to the other side. At least that's the claim a lot of Republicans make. I think that Republicans are for law and order. Maybe they don't agree with this verdict. Certainly doesn't appear that way. And the fact that this was, not only that the judge had some issues and his family having ties to Democrat leaders, all that aside, Republicans have respect for law and order. I don't think Republicans are the ones who are going to go burn the streets, despite the fact that they are very upset. And when I mean very upset, I don't know if you saw what some of the TV commentators had to say today, but some very powerful messaging coming from a lot of the Republican TV talking heads. And so I say all that to say that I don't believe Republicans are the party of going and burning the streets. It's interesting, though, that they have to put out this warning that we are going to be a city of law and order when it doesn't apply to the other side. At least that's the claim by a lot of people, and it certainly seems that way. So it's interesting. We have this two-tiered messaging.
Yeah, this is a time, too, members of Congress, they all need to stand beside him if they really care about the justice system and, the fate of the November election. I didn't hear anything from Mitch McConnell, and he's someone that usually always weighs in. So waiting to see from and hear from him. But, at least he has the others, J.D. Vance, the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, all coming to his defense. So that was, at least something good to see out of all of this. And if we've learned anything, Jackson, every time an indictment comes down, every time the DOJ hits him with something, the poll numbers shoot up. So I think in this case, this might, in some weird turn of events, maybe a W for Trump. I don't know. But, lots to happen. The appeal, like you said, coming next month. They're going to get on it right away. Jackson Gosnell, all the time we have. Thank you.
Yeah, good to be with you, Dana. Thanks so much.